Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to welcome you all to the Hello LLC. If you don't know what Hello stands for helping entrepreneurs leverage leading edge optimizations. And today we are in the amazing Hello Plaza in Metaverse. Yes, I said Metaverse, that you can join us from your cell phone. You can join us from your laptop. You can join us from your iPad. You can join us if you have the VR headsets. And if you go to Sam's, you can get the Quest 2 right now for $99. Just, Sam's, send me my check. And so I just want you guys to understand that the future is already here. And yesterday we had a great conversation of How To Tuesdays that we do every single Tuesday, where we show you, we can teach you, and more importantly, if you join our pivot, we can do it for you. And we talked about how to monetize your business, AI, VR, and in the metaverse. And today we're having an amazing conversation on our Wisdom Wednesday, cryptocurrency, why now? And we're going to start with the basics. We have our amazing other half of the business, of the relationship, of everything, Miss Tara. And this is her expertise. She's going to take you to the moon and back and share with you guys the basics of crypto, especially now that you guys have been hearing about crypto. It's been in your ear. Your financial advisor might have talked to you about it. You've been hearing about this Bitcoin. We are going to demystify all of these things. And please believe this is no financial advice. This is David and Tara not trying to sell you on any crypto or anything of that sort. This is just what we do of helping you understand the basics and why you should be looking and pivoting your business, your brand, your finances, and looking at other options that are out there. And that is what today's conversation is all about. And definitely, if you guys don't know, come and join us tomorrow for our Hello Pivot. We have an amazing Dr. Paul Kellogg. He's an actual doctor that studies intuition. And so tomorrow is going to be the power of intuition on the Hello Pivot. And so definitely make sure you guys come and join us. And if you don't know, you can come and join us once again in the metaverse. I hope that we can get one of you guys to go to our biz in a box, the HelloLLC.io, and hit 4 buttons, just like you downloaded Zoom, just like you downloaded Clubhouse, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's a free app. You download the app, you come back to the Hello LLC, hit that big button that says Hello Plaza, and boom, create your avatar. Ladies, no longer do you have to stick to the one picture that we showcase on this one page. You now can change your clothing. You can actually input your actual photo, and it's going to make your avatar as close as possible to your actual face, where now we're not a static, photo. You now can move around, adjust yourself, just as I'm doing now. If you're watching us live in our Hello Plaza, where we host events in here, where if you want to do your book launch, you have a webinar, you have a masterclass that you want to take above and beyond Zoom, the boring, static, crusty, dusty Zoom, then talk to us, and we definitely can be able to help you guys leverage this new Web3, this new immersive environment, and literally be able to showcase your brand in a completely different way, because that's what we do. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you all to the amazing Tara, amazing solutionist and programmer and all the above. She's going to talk, and she's going to give you guys the basics of the cryptocurrency. Talk to us, love. What
amazing,
you got?
Tara, amazing. I like that. ATA. Well, hello, beautiful people. It is a beautiful Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're talking about cryptocurrency. And no, I'm going to just tell you all right now, we're not going to be in here talking about how to invest, what you need to invest in. What we talk about today is not financial advice, but I would just share with you guys, this is going to be a different type of cryptocurrency room than most provide. I attend a lot of cryptocurrency rooms. A lot of times they're diving deep into, projects. They're diving deep into, what you should be looking at and in an investment wise, how to invest, why you want to invest, all those things. That's not what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about how you, first of all, what is cryptocurrency? We're going to talk about some facts and some figures. We're also going to talk about, the simple fact of Crypto 101, some glossary terms, how to understand it as simple as like a 5-year-old could understand it. And I'm going to laugh because, 5-year-olds today are not, so big into, or I'm sorry, let me restate this. 5-year-olds today know a lot more about technology than 65-year-olds do sometimes. So I say that with all love because that's what the conversation and topic of our room today is, to help you understand it. And so the topic today is, why now? Why do I need to be paying attention to cryptocurrency now? And so first of all, let me just tell you, cryptocurrency, I'm gonna call it crypto from here on out, but the full word is cryptocurrency. We will get into some glossary in that, but cryptocurrency is not going anywhere. As David was just sharing about what we do within our digital agency and helping people set their foundations and pivot from Web 2 to Web 3, getting in the metaverse, showing them how they can implement AI and metaverse into their foundation and to change the experience that people are going to be experiencing when they come to your business or brand. The point being is, all things need a way for currency, for trade of value, for services and goods to be exchanged. And right now, the metaverse, a lot of metaverses are starting to introduce cryptocurrencies. Some of them, do not have a currency that is tied to a cryptocurrency, meaning that you have to still, trade a, Cash App or a Stripe or a PayPal, the old ways of getting paid and whatnot. A point of service is essentially what they call it. So crypto is not going anywhere. It is, first and foremost, the facts and figures on this is that crypto is not legalized or regulated right now in the United States. There are many countries around the world that do have regulations set up on cryptocurrency. There's many European countries that are way ahead of the game. A lot of UAE areas as well. But the United States have not gotten that far yet. I will bet your bottom dollar you're going to see cryptocurrency regulations come down the pipeline in the next 12 to 24 months, if that. Outside of the geopolitical things and political things, being an election year, you probably won't see that happen this year, just because elections is the forefront. And so, we'll park that scooter right there because this conversation is not about politics and things like that. So some other stats. Did you know as of October 2021, Vietnam was the #1 ranked country for cryptocurrency adoption? And right behind that is the UAE and several other European countries. The UK is, going by leaps and bounds as well. There's a lot of myths out there that cryptocurrency is only utilized for bad or nefarious reasons. It's also, they talk about how cryptocurrency will not take over future legal tender. We're going to talk about that today and how that plays an important role, and where in less than 10 years, by the year of 2030, 2031, 2032, kind of, in the next 8 to 10 years is a good, safe understanding, is that how that landscape will change. But one thing that I want to share with you guys all is that in April of 2024, over 20 countries around the world have implemented some shape, form, or fashion of cryptocurrencies. So the adoption is happening. It depends on how cryptocurrencies are set up, like what they stand for, the project that they stand for, the reason why they were created, will dictate their adoption. And we'll dive into a little bit of understanding of that as we dive through this as well. But there are over 20,000 different cryptocurrencies in existence today. I will tell you guys all that when regulations happen, a lot of those will not be around because at that point, regulations, once you have to meet a certain standard, not everybody meets that bar. And so not all cryptocurrencies will be here within the next 8 to 10 years. Another myth that people, sometimes talk about is that cryptocurrencies are not secure. Today, we will be talking about the security of them. And what I mean by that, again, this will all be very high level. If you want to learn more, dive in. We have resources that we will be sharing with you guys that we have within our Pivot membership, that we have all of this information documented, so you can dive in and learn from not just us, but from other experts within the field on different components of this of cryptocurrencies and blockchains. So and another myth and last myth that I will bring up that we're going to kind of debunk today is the cryptocurrencies are not anonymous, and that they are not secure, and that they're just a scam. So that's one kind of big chunk of it that people have to understand. 10 years ago, when people were talking about Bitcoin, that was really early on, even 20 years ago. If you guys don't know, Bitcoin started in the early 2000s as a cryptocurrency on the dark web. So it's been around for 20 plus years, and we don't really, because we haven't been cued into it. We haven't been forced to use it. We haven't been forced to recognize what it is. We really haven't stopped and paid attention to it. You know what I mean? So we all welcome you in. I do want to say, if you are on any of our platforms, feel free to come up. Feel free to drop questions in the chats. We are here to answer any questions. And we're here to have an open conversation as well. So if you have questions, please, 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 absolutely jump up here and share. We absolutely love it. And finally, jump into our metaverse. You can watch us fully right now in our metaverse at thehellollc.io. If you're in Clubhouse, it's the link at top. Just click that. You'll see a button. It'll drop you right into our metaverse, and bada bing, bada boom. So with that said, Mr. Jones, before I jump into some more, I'm going to open this up. And, I know I'm super diverse in cryptocurrency, and it's something I geek out on, and understanding the system, the why, the reasons. That's what we're going to explain today. What are some things from your point of view when I was sharing cryptocurrency with you and you were starting to learn? What are some things that you find that would be super helpful for our audience, for me to talk about, and that you have discovered within cryptocurrency?
Well, one of the things that we all should understand, kind of like now, is that sometimes people don't know the money game now. Financial literacy is caught, not taught, as one of our great Pivot members would share with us, and, this is something that we all have to be able to be upfront with and be willing to have this conversation about our finances, and understanding that our financial sector is changing, and that we cannot continue to be so naive, especially with some of these facts that Tara is going to share, where a lot of your banks are already invested into this cryptocurrency. BlackRock, which is one of the largest investment firms, that is, like I think Tara says, the 5th largest GDP over any country, is starting to invest in this Bitcoin. So it's really where we want you guys to be open as always. A closed hand, a closed mouth, and a closed mind will not get you to where you want to be. And, some of the things that we talked about, because last week I went into a room and this guy asked me, hey, what do you think about Bitcoin? And, is it possible that it can get to 100,000? And this was just a simple question. And I shared my experience, and somebody came in the room, came up on stage and said, well, this guy's gaslighting the room, because I said, hey, by, what I know from what Tara has shared with me, it does have a potential to do that. But there's other, things that are involved that it could and could not, just like in anything. And this guy then came on stage and he said, oh, this guy's gaslighting. He doesn't know anything about it. And I said from the very beginning, this is just what I think. This is my opinion. And so this is where we all have to take a step back and really not bring the negative energy, the negative vibration, the combative, ways that we think about things and our expressions to how we feel about things, but really take a step back and, see the foundation is being laid out big as day. And there's no, hiding from it, just as we share with you guys about AI, about metaverse, about all these things, that when we dig deep into it, you're like, oh, They're not playing. It really is here. And this is why I wanted Tara to be able to go over some of just the basics. And some of those things are when people do hear Bitcoin and crypto, they get those two things confused and they think they're one and the same. They don't know the basics of it. And then especially when we talked last week, there's different types of crypto. There is the actual, there's the actual, meme coins, which would be like a Doge or,
You're just taking all my content
I'm
material,
sorry, I'm sorry, my bad. Well, you asked me, so I won't go into that. So Tara will talk about these differentials of how you guys should really understand the basic terms of where it's going. And that's what this is all about, is really for you guys to understand the basics and don't hide away from it like we did with real estate, like we did with the stocks, like a lot of people are doing now with AI and metaverse, where it's then all of a sudden going to be ooh, you can do that? Yes, you can do that. And especially for those of you that are entrepreneurs, this is a perfect time for you to be implementing and learning about this, because there's going to be other forms of money that you can start accepting. Just like the other day, Grant Cardone is now going to sell a house and utilizing Bitcoin only. And I had a conversation with Grant, not too long ago about AI, about metaverse, and he had no clue about it. And this was probably well over a year ago. And so now just the big wigs and these other, enterprises and companies are starting to catch on to the convenience in the pace and speed of it is, especially for an entrepreneur. You got to wait days for your money to transfer into one account to another account to this account. It's just a chaos in itself. And so this is where we really get the opportunity to learn these new things.
I love it. So absolutely, Mr. Jones, jumped on a whole bunch of things that we're going to talk about today. And it's so funny when you're sharing, it's all the information I share with you, which is great, because at the end of the day, the same information you're sharing about, the different types of coins, about the adoption and things like that are coming really into play. And that's just the same thing that you're sharing. And at the end of the day, to be open to it, to understand what cryptocurrency is, how it's going to be implemented into our future, how you, whether you're invested or not into cryptocurrency, will be utilizing what cryptocurrency is in the future and whatnot. So, first of all, let's break down the basics and understand the playing field. A lot of times when things happen, I was sharing with David last night about an analogy, like, if you're standing at home base and someone tells you to go to first base and nobody's ever told you where first base is, you're looking at outside like, well, there's three bases out there. Which one do I go to? Do I go to that one, or do I go to this one, or do I go to the one directly in the middle? And so a lot of times we hear a lot of people talking about cryptocurrency. We hear people talking about Bitcoin, as David was sharing, how people get that confused between the two of them. And it's not confusion. It's just what they hear people talking about. And so that's like, for instance, let's use Google as an example. When Google came around and became the largest search engine, it became a phrase to just Google it. Just go Google it. And people knew to go search for that on the internet. That's what that term, when someone said that to you, was to go find that information out on the internet. And so we really have to understand at the end of the day that the simplicity of these things come down to understanding our playing field. So first and foremost, I talk about fintech, which is financial technology. That's what fintech means, as a broad picture. Under fintech is all things that are financially involved, that are technology based. And so that's why it's called fintech. Now that's the big overall arching umbrella. Now, when you start to get underneath that, you guys have heard terms of cryptocurrency. You've heard the term of blockchain. You've heard the term of NFT. You've heard terms of stable coin, meme coin, altcoins. You've heard all of these different Bitcoin. You've heard Ethereum, and you're like, Holy sheep's nozzles. I don't even know half the things you guys are talking about. And the reason why I know you guys feel that way is because that's how I felt when I started learning this. I would jump into these rooms and these people were like programmer style and they were talking deep level. And I was like, I don't even know the basics. I need to know the basics because I can't comprehend. It was like them speaking gibberish, right? So let's all imagine that we have a lemonade stand. And we all know that the neighborhood lemonade stand growing up, we all probably had one at one point of our time of growing up. But the beautiful thing about having our lemonade stand was, did our LinkedIn go out? Do you need me to turn it on over here? The beautiful thing about, our lemonade stand was the simple fact that, I'm going to unmute over here just to make sure on LinkedIn. Sorry about that, team. But the beautiful thing that we remember about having a lemonade stand.
Sorry about that, team.
There we go. Sorry, we have a reverb there, guys. I apologize for that. All right. So the lemonade stand, let's break down how that's going to be associated to cryptocurrency and to blockchain. So what is blockchain? Blockchain is imagine the lemonade stand. That is your blockchain. And the lemonade that you're serving is your blockchain within the lemonade stand. When David comes up to my lemonade stand and he hands me a quarter or he hands me this little shiny token that has, Hello LLC on it or whatever the cryptocurrency you're accepting, I'm going to take that in exchange. That right there, when I take that whatever token he is giving that I'm accepting, that's the cryptocurrency that lives within the blockchain, right? So in a better analogy would be, think of a sticker book when we were little. We all had a sticker book at some point. We got stickers to put in our sticker book, maybe even think about a scrapbook too. But you have your sticker book with your stickers in it, and you would go to your friend and exchange stickers. So I'd go to David and be like, oh, I got all these stickers. And he'd be like, oh, I got these. You want any of these? And we do an exchange. So the sticker book.
Pokemon cards.
Pokemon cards as well. The box of the Pokemon cards that you keep it in or wherever you keep your booklet. Your sticker book or your booklet that you keep your Pokemon cards in is the blockchain. So the blockchain is the holder. It is the keeper. And as a blockchain fills up, just like your sticker book would fill up, you would need to go get a new sticker book because you're like, I don't have any more places to put stickers and write down where I got it, a memory and the date or whatever, however you date stamped that sticker in your sticker book. Now, the stickers that you have in your book and or exchange with your friends is cryptocurrency. Okay. That is what, it is, short, sweet, and simple. So once your sticker book is all filled up, you go get a new sticker book. That's a new blockchain. So on, the blockchain, there are multiple amounts of blocks that have all of these transactions of coins, which is cryptocurrency. Now, one of the myths is, that it's not safe. It's not, it's not safe, and that it's not, what was the other thing? That easily to be able to break into, easily to hack, secure. That was safe, secure, same darn thing I was trying to say. There we go. Anywho, and anonymous. That was the other thing I was looking for. So everything that happens on the blockchain is like a ledger. It is documented. So if Tara sends David, 1 Bitcoin, it is documented on the blockchain. You can see the transaction from point A to point B, who had it, who's holding it. Now, the anonymous part of it is that your name is not tied to that. So it is your wallet, your address that it is tracking. So it is a series of numbers as mine. And when I send that to David, it's another series of numbers that he would be able to, showcase it within the blockchain as a transaction. So it is a public ledger, but it has anonymity. I always butcher that word, guys. It's anonymous within it is what I'm trying to say. It allows us to be able to not be seen as Tara sending David something, but that transaction is absolutely tracked. Just like your sticker book you're going to write down, David Jones gave me this sticker on April 17th, 2024, and this is why he gave it to me, and this is what we were doing, right? You're going to have a little transaction. It's the same thing like in companies when they keep a ledger of all of their financial transactions, because, you know, accounting, and the IRS at some point is probably going to want to see that. So it is very, very critical to understand the playing field. So when people talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain, just understand, yeah, blockchain's the holder and cryptocurrency is the asset that is being held within that block. Okay. Now, moving on. A lot of times people, you know, get lost around the terminology. So let's do a little glossary breakdown here, because that's super helpful. It's something I got lost in a lot of times when I was trying to understand the lingo and, you know, and whatnot. By the way, David just saw the guide that we have. We have this guide up. It is Crypto 101 Basics. This is, guys, if you join our Pivot membership at the $7 level, there is a whole fintech section that has videos, glossary, guides on this guide, guys, is 20 pages long. 17 pages long, and it's just chock full of information about everything I'm talking today and then some. So if you are looking to begin and you're like, hey, I kind of need a safe space to get some information, join our $7 membership. If you want to join the $27 membership a month, you can actually meet with us and have a little one-on-one to ask some questions and access to all the same stuff, right? So a lot of times people hear, so we talked about blockchain and cryptocurrency. We broke down those terminologies. What is a coin, which is a cryptocurrency coin? A coin represents a store of value or a project or a meme or whatever that it's, you know, holding that lives on a given blockchain or cryptocurrency network. Okay. So sometimes that would be known as a coin, could be known as Bitcoin, which a lot of people know and understand. In the general consensus, they'll say, well, yeah, that Bitcoin thing, but they could be talking about cryptocurrency in a whole, but they only understand Bitcoin. Again, back to this whole go Google it or just Google it or GTS that stuff. That is where people start to associate one word with a whole industry.
Just like Meta for Facebook,
yeah,
right? People are associating Meta, Facebook, aka Meta, with the entirety of metaverse, and it's
absolutely 100%. The association factor. Yeah. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a specific cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is the first to market. It was the very first cryptocurrency to market. That is why it still holds the #1 place in the cryptocurrency. If there was a ranking, because there is a ranking, it is the #1 placement holder. That's why everybody knows it, just like Google, you know, just like Meta. That's why everybody knows it. So Bitcoin is an actual coin. It is known as a store of value coin. We'll break down what store of value is here in a second. It is also, it came to actual, what am I trying to say? Market in January of 2009. But that's when it became to where it was quote unquote on the market to where everybody could get a hold of it. It started back in, we have a friend who actually 2002 or 2001, she said, while she was in college, she was, you know, trading and buying Bitcoin on the black market. And it was like pennies. Like, I mean, and this is like 0.0000 pennies, like your fractions of a penny.
Let's just say she is very well off right now.
That part. And so she, you know, at that point, she was buying it because she says that she was, you know, paying like for different books and things like that for her college and whatnot. And so that was, you know, it was genius. Little did she know 25 years later, 20 to 25 years later, she would be well off. But that's where it originally started. And yes, it has been associated at times for nefarious things, just like it's been associated with good things. So there's not just one overweighing, arching, thing, even though I say dark web, her buying her school books was a good thing because it gave her an education and whatnot. So that is what Bitcoin is. And again, I'm going to dive into what store of value, which is what Bitcoin is known as, when I kind of get into this. We've discovered what blockchain is. Now, there's decentralized, and a lot of people don't understand what decentralized and centralized is. So
I think before you go into that, I think you should explain the difference with the coins, because I think because you went down that loop, can we go over the coins and the different type of coins?
So there's three different categories for coins. You guys might hear stable coin, altcoin, meme coin, but in reality, it's more of a classification of store of value, utility, or meme. So those are kind of the three areas that all coins will fall into. So a store of value coin, aka Bitcoin, aka Ethereum. Those are where people, for instance, David was just sharing, Grant Cardone, who is now selling one of his house. He is selling it in Bitcoin. He is not accepting cash offers or any sort of traditional USD offers. It is Bitcoin only because it's store of value. You have to understand the United States dollar has been losing its value since it was taken off the gold standard, which is why store of value is so important, is because when the USD, the US dollar, was disconnected from the gold standard and we no longer backed every dollar with gold, we then had to back it with something else, which was petrochemicals, which is petrol oil. So it's called the petrodollar. But in reality, understanding Bitcoin and Ethereum is places where, like Grant can say, I'm going to sell my real estate. I want to sell it within Bitcoin because it's holding value better than the United States dollar is holding value. And if you go out to Google and you Google it, you'll find a chart that shows you the depreciation of the value of what our dollar is based on the fact that there's not gold backing it. And now also with the petro starting to die off, it is because of the transition we're going through, right? So the next one is utility. What is a utility coin, utility token? Tokens and coins are interchangeable, guys. So if I say token or coin or token, those are pretty interchangeable. You don't have to really geek out on, the nuances of that. So just don't stress yourself out on when you hear some of these new terms and go, oh, I don't know that one. So a utility token or coin is really going to be something that has a project behind it that is solving a problem. That's essentially what it's doing. The utility is solving a problem, or it's creating a solution, which is solving a problem for some sort of issue that's at hand. So what does that mean? There is a category of coins / tokens that are in the ISO 222 category. And it's like 8 to 10 different tokens, coins that make this up, this category up. And in that wheelhouse, in that category, they're all solving a problem. There's some projects out there that are solving the problem of how many of us realize that if we go put cash in, like if we deposit a check or if we make a transfer from our PayPal over to our bank account or whatever, it takes 3 to 5 business days. If you do it on a Friday and you do it after a certain time on Friday, it's not going to hit your account until Tuesday. We all know that, right? I mean, it's the only thing that you're going to get instant is if you walk into the bank with cash in hand. And at that point, they want to know where that cash came from. How did you get that cash? What are you doing with that cash, right? And so the point being is that when we are putting stuff into, when we're looking at these projects, if it's got some sort of solution, it's solving a problem. There's again, the ISO family, they're solving cross-border payments and payments to people instantly. So the problem of having a 3 to 5 transaction day of posting to your account, this is going to solve that to where it's instant. Instant means within less than a minute. Okay, that's instant. That's pretty quick, guys. The other side is it's going to be cheaper than the traditional ways. There's so many problems with our current financial system. I will share this. Think of think of a pig with lipstick on it and makeup and, a wig. That's all our financial system is. On the front side, you and I, David, sharing money with Tara, he can cash app that to me like that, and I have it instantly. But that money is not changing hands instantly on the back side. And that means that someone's taking a risk, usually the bank, which is why they're charging you a fee in order to make sure they mitigate that risk of holding that money or transferring that money for, the 3 to 5 day holding period, right? So we're solving problems when it comes down to the fact that when we start getting cryptocurrencies involved and they have certain projects tied to it, this coin does this coin does that, this coin will do this, it will speed up that transaction. It'll be cheaper, faster, and it will eliminate the Nostro Vostro accounts that we have all around the world. Now, let me just tell you what Nostro Vostro is, because again, I brought up a new term and it's like, what is that? Okay. The United States and every other country has, for instance, David and I are in Mexico, meaning we have all of our banking and everything back in the States. But when we need cash on hand, we go to the bank, the ATM here, and we pull that out. That means that the United States has a Nostro Vostro account here in Mexico and multiple accounts here in Mexico that hold nothing but Mexican pesos and United States dollars, and vice versa. Mexico has these Nostro Vostro accounts in the United States, and for every country, it's like it's equal, right? Because when someone comes into that country that might have their originating currency in dollars, i.e. us, and we go to Mexico, i.e. now, and we pull out our money from the thing, we get pesos. So that is basically an IOU that the bank has to send the other bank to say, oh, wait, Tara and David took out 500 pesos. Here's the $30 that covers that in the United States, that makes sure we get everything kosher. Cryptocurrency is eliminating that. It will no longer need these Nostro Vostro accounts all over the world because it will be instant. The moment that I pull the money from the United States, it will automatically make a transfer because of the playing field is equal. And now we don't have these big exchange fees. We don't have to pay, we don't have to wait for days for our money to show up and all of that. So utility solves the problem. I know I went deep in that, but it's really good to understand the utility. By the way, not financial advice, but everybody needs to, if you're going to invest in cryptocurrency, you want to be investing in utility tokens and coins. Store of value is good, but you really want to be in that arena, the utility, because when problems are solved, we already know this from a corporate standpoint. We already know this from a business standpoint. When you solve problems, you become like wildfire. I mean, think of the Shazam dude that had the Shazam towel. I mean, the moment that we saw that we could mop up everything and it held it, and then, sold, guys. I mean, it's these things that someone solves the problem so easily that it makes life easier. We want to be on that.
And I think, one of the things that we all have to understand is that we're already on this cryptocurrency, because half of you don't have $1,000 in cash right now on you or in your house. And so we're already utilizing this digital system. And that's essentially what we need to understand. It's just like when they brung up ATMs, everybody thought, oh my God, bank tellers are going to be gone away. They're no longer extinct. No, what it did, it made it more easier for the people that did need to see the actual bank account, the actual associate, other than somebody that just wanted to pull cash.
Do you remember back in the day when you used to write a check?
Yeah.
And then the check would, you were like, okay, okay, processing and posting days are 3 to 5.
Yeah.
How long is this check going to take?
Yeah.
And it was like the robbing Peter to pay Paul. No more, guys. It's going to be well, and that's what I'm saying.
It's the speed of process, just like with our AI, just like with our Web3. It's the speed of process because we're moving to a global market and we're starting to do business all around the world, just like these countries are doing as well. And so this is where Tara was sharing earlier, as you share, the Slinky. If you guys have seen a Slinky go down the stairs, you got the front end and then you got the back end. We got kind of the front end with the pig on the front where we're all on a digital aspect where we're using cards. Now the back end is catching up to the front end to where it's now going to be more accessible, which is why we share with you guys all, especially those of you that have a business. You should, and you definitely should be looking at ways to accept other currencies. And one question that I would like to pose to you, Love, is why would people, why should people consider cryptocurrency? Because a lot of times when you say the dollar is going away, it's no longer, it's not going to be as dominant as it was. Can you explain that part? Because I think when people understand that the dollar is crumbling, especially with all this inflation, especially with all the scare, and where are people going, especially when I jumped into that room the other day, $46 billion was dumped into one particular cryptocurrency. And so the whales are transitioning. The big boys are moving their money over, which is why we're bringing this to you. You should be doing the same.
Absolutely. Going to park that question because I want to finish the third category so people taking notes can get this, and then we will absolutely divest into why now, why pay attention to cryptocurrency now. So the last category is the meme.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we have the store of value was the first one. The second one is utility. And the third one is meme.
And the store of value, so you guys can understand once again, would be like the
Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's where you can put money in. It's right now like Bitcoin is the best example of this. Bitcoin this morning was like 61,000 some. A week ago it was at 70. It's going to move around just like gold. Gold is a store of value. Silver is a store of value, meaning it's going to keep its value long term. And that will allow me to jump into, after I talk about what a meme coin is, about why we need to be paying attention to cryptocurrency now and why we need to be understanding how it works the playing field so we can utilize it in the future, because that's a whole can of worms in its own self. So a meme coin, guys, is just for fun. A meme is like the memes that you see on Facebook. That's all the meme coin is. It's because, for instance, we all know Elon Musk. Elon Musk created Dogecoin. Have anybody heard of Dogecoin, DOGE coin? It is simply a meme coin. It has value because the community that is supporting it says it has value. It does not solve a problem. It does not hold its value at all. It is simply a meme coin. So that means that when Elon is, going to Saturday Night Live and he's going to talk about Doge, all of a sudden, Doge was doing really well. And right when he started talking about on Saturday Night Live, it tanked. Well, that was because at the end of the day, it's all about how the community moves. And so I will, this not financial advice, but I will tell you all, for a long-term investment strategy, meme coin is not where you want to be. Meme coin is definitely something, if you go in and basically, this is meme coin. You have $10 or $20, you walk into the casino, you see the Wheel of Fortune, what is the slot machine? You walk up to it, you put your $20 in, you play your $20. If you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. That is, literally the likelihood of your meme. It is all about understanding that communities will gas up a coin, i.e. Dogecoin and all that. And then the big dogs at the top, or whoever are the big holders, will pull out and sell so they can make a lot, which is how many of you remember in 2017 was the big Doge in the last bull run, the big Doge run, our Dogecoin. A lot of people were millionaires, multi-millionaires. And that was because as the community hyped it up, what happened is when it got to the top and people had bought, $100 of it, and so they had 1 million Dogecoin, and then all of a sudden it went to $1 or $2. What happens is all of those people sold at the top to get their money out, and then here came the crash because there's no value in it. There's no utility behind it. And so that is the understanding that a meme coin is only what the community thinks it is. And it's not the best place to put your investment strategy in. Short-term gamble, go right ahead if you want to. Just don't play with your rent money. That's what I say. So, okay. So that's the 3 categories. So again, we welcome you all here. Thank you so much for being here, guys. We absolutely invite you to come up on the stage to talk, to listen. You can listen up on stage, down on stage, doesn't matter. We just appreciate you being here. If you have questions, come on up, ask them, or drop them in the back channel. We will absolutely identify those and answer those. And other than that, join us in our amazing metaverse right now so you can see David and myself at thehellollc.io. There's a button that will just drop you right in there. And so let's get on to your question, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, and once again, you guys should be joining us, in Metaverse, because this is exactly what Tara is sharing, is that when this Web3, when this Metaverse that people are going to be implementing themselves in, 828 billion to be exact, by the numbers that we talked about yesterday, is that people are going to be joining from all around the world. And you can't have $1, I can't have a peso, somebody else have, a euro, and we're trying to, settle up, of what our prices should be. Now utilizing, coins or utilities or memes, whatever you choose to use, like Tara said, that is completely up to you. This is the new wave that we're going to be, paying and purchasing products and services online, which is what we're doing now. So my question to you earlier, love, was, we're talking about, the stored value, which is, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the gold, the silver. We were talking about the meme coin, the Doge. What would be another meme coin per se?
Pepe would be another one. Shiba Inu would be another one.
Yep, I've heard of Shiba. Okay.
Yeah, Pepe was the most recent one that came out right now.
Yep.
And look, guys, people will just put $20 on it and say, hey, I got $20 on it. They're not worried about it. If it goes up, they cash out. If it doesn't, again.
Prime example, the Hippo that everybody on Clubhouse remember, that was a meme coin.
Yeah.
When the Hippo was on here, they were, doing the meme coins, and the community put the value on that.
Absolutely.
There was another world that we were in Metaverse, that was the comedy.
Yeah.
In Multiverse, I forgot the name of that one, but that was a meme coin as well. And so when we talked about utility coin, we went over the utility and project coin already, correct?
Yes.
That would be like an XRP, that would be an XLM,
XTC, HBAR, Algorand, anything within the ISO 222 family. If you go out and Google, again, all of this information is packed into our $7 membership. So you can literally go out there for $7, join our membership, and have all of this information right there. But that's the simple point of it, is understanding, utility is going to be anything that's solving a problem.
Yeah.
A lot. So some of these problems are like human-based related, like the human resource related, meaning like there's some of them that are agricultural, environment related, some of them that are solving the financial system issues. Yeah. And that's essentially what the ISO 222 family does, is they solve financial problems. There's other coins out there that solve other types of problems that are in the environment or whatnot, right? And so these are the nuts and bolts. This is the system. This is the geeks. This is where I geek out on it, because of the system of what it solves. It's solving a problem. So your question earlier was...
My question earlier was okay, now we're talking about all these coins. We're talking about, the access of it. Why now is it important for people to start paying attention to this, especially for those who have a business and they continue to hear or might have heard, hey, the dollar might be going away, this inflation, the US, might be in a world of trouble because we are by dollars. Can you lay out just why the dollar is in a problem now, and why people should start considering pivoting over to this cryptocurrency as a lot of these other companies has, as Bank of America, as Wells Fargo, behind the scenes, that you have all this information that most people don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, lipstick on a pig. They're already presenting us as a digital society. Yep. We do the tap and go in the stores. Yep. We do the, we cash app somebody the money instantly. And so we're already being prepped and conditioned for a digitalization of our financial system. So we are already there. So if you don't think cryptocurrency is going to be here, guys, it's already here. There are literally last July, everybody knows the Federal Reserve within the United States. That is, quote unquote, who is handling and prints and distributes our money, our USDT and USDC, right? So that means US dollar and US coin. So the point being is that, first of all, the Federal Reserve is a private entity, and they are not associated with the federal government. That's really important for people to know. We'll divest into that much later, but that's important to understand that there's a separation of church and state there, as they would say. So the Federal Reserve last July created a digital currency that is known as the FedNow. And FedNow simply is the digital asset to move things from one point to the next point, behind the scenes, quick and in a hurry. So there are, like David said, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. This is funny, JP Morgan Chase, even though if you go look up online, all of the information that is written out there is how JP Morgan Chase is anti-cryptocurrency. However, they are one of the largest holders of cryptocurrency because they know where it's going.
Say that again for the people in the back.
I need people to understand how the game is played. This is called FUD. They will FUD you out of the market. FUD is just making a murky mess. That's just giving you a bunch of false information that is not true to scare you and fear you out of the market. So JP Morgan, even though you go out and you Google and you're all this, what are they, all of these things in the United States, they are not messing with cryptocurrency in a public format to the public facing, but they own millions, if not billions or trillions of assets in cryptocurrency behind the scenes. Even in other countries, they're accepting cryptocurrencies. So I need everybody to understand, you cannot believe what they are telling you on mainstream at all. Mainstream telling you anything about, what you have or what cryptocurrency is or is not. Don't believe them, guys. Literally, the past 15 years, a lot of cryptocurrency experts have been able to prove that when the mainstream news, your mainstream, people like BlackRock or, any of these major influencers, whenever they start talking about cryptocurrency in one light, they're doing the exact opposite. So it is where the reason they are doing that, guys, is they do not want cryptocurrency to be out and available to full public until they can get their little hands all over it and regulate it and control it so they can dictate what and how you get it. And so it is very, very important, guys, that when this comes down the pipeline, that we first have to understand why we're in the biggest financial switch in the entire world in our lifetime. The baby boomers right now own the majority. I think it's like 80 or 90% of all financial assets. Okay, baby boomers are getting to the end of their lifespan. Those assets are going to start being moved around, meaning they're going to be handed down to the next generation. And as David was sharing earlier, BlackRock, along with 10 other large entities like themselves, Vanguard, Grayscale, and a few others that are big investment firms like that, they have all of a sudden gotten a Bitcoin ETF. And this is where they're starting to get control of the cryptocurrency. So that way you and I will not be able to buy it outright, and we have to go to them. So let's all think back to the gold rush in California. We all heard, oh my God, there's gold available. You just got to go out there and get it. You got to mine it and get it for yourself. So this is the gold rush right now. This is where everybody has the opportunity to go get their own Bitcoin instead of going through a BlackRock or anything else to that matter. So the reason why they are doing this, though, is because they want to get control of these assets and then allow you to have a portion of it under their control, so they make the money or a portion of money. They remember, these large corporations and investment firms only make it because the fees that they get to inflict or apply to us when it comes down the pipeline of simply just, getting control of it before we do. And so right now, everybody has the ability to get out to California from your phone, from your laptop, to be able to get your own gold and not be purchasing gold from a gold broker or anybody else who is buying gold at a cost, putting their markup on it, and then selling it to you. And that is why I talked about in the beginning crypto regulations, and that we're not quite there yet. And that people, because a lot of people, and I will talk about this very frankly, I'm going to probably lose a lot of baby boomers. My mom's a baby boomer. But a lot of baby boomers will not take action and get cryptocurrency or move assets into cryptocurrency because it does not have regulations behind it. And they have been conditioned to understand that they need to be, it needs to be regulated and it needs to be all in the thing so it's safe and it needs to be insured. And that's the biggest lie and FUD that they have fed you, because at the end of the day, you don't need any of that. Because once they do, it is only for them to be able to say, I got my hands in it, I get to charge a fee, and now bada bing, bada boom. So last July, I started to talk about FedNow and the cryptocurrency that they created, the FedNow coin that they utilize. And there was a tweet that I saw, as well as what am I trying to think of? Documentary on how people are starting to send money from their bank to their PayPal or Stripe to this, or, they're sending money between financial institutions, and it says the money's going instantly, and it says your money has been transferred by FedNow. So it's important to understand they're already starting to build the rails behind the scenes, because they're not going to release this information to the public before they don't have their little fingers in the pot to make sure that they're getting their cut of what of what you're going to have access to. And so this is why it's such a wild, wild west right now within cryptocurrency, and why a lot of people go, well, it's not regulated, I'm not touching it. And it's because of the scare tactics, the fear that is happening. But what is happening behind the scenes is the fact that all of this mass adoption is happening for the benefit of all of us. But if you have your head on a swivel, if you're doing your research, if you're tuning into conversations like this and other ones that are deep dives, you'll understand that you yourself can go purchase these assets without having to go through the big BlackRocks or the Vanguards or people like that, who are going to only sell you an ETF that is then going to have some sort of fees associated with it, or they're getting some sort of fee. That way it keeps them in business, right? So that all breaks down into, how, why we are going to be utilizing in the future. Now let's back up to why is the dollar going bye-bye?
Yeah.
This is important to understand. This is all information that you can literally Google. And again, I know I was just sharing with you, you got to be mindful of what you're reading on Google, but this is something that I have went out and I've researched, and the articles out there are accurate within the sense of what's creating. So David shared earlier, and the BlackRock is actually the 4th largest GDP in the world. So GDP is essentially the amount of, goods to profits, the goods that you make, and then who you sell them to, like other countries, and the money that you make off of that, right? And so that is the amount of money that you have within your system as well. and the United States being the largest. But the second largest, is nowhere close to what the United States is. Neither is the third. And obviously, I just said BlackRock's the fourth. But why it's important is because, as David and I have shared, is collaboration. There are nations that are starting to collaborate together and say, hey, the US dollar is actually working for one country, but it's not working for us, because every time we trade or we, trade goods or services in it, we're taking a huge hit. It costs us more. That's why you see such a dominance of the US dollar. Like if you come down to Mexico, for every $1, it's 17 pesos. So sometimes it's 18 pesos, right? Depends on the day. But there's a transaction. There's a currency exchange value. That's why when we went to Colombia, one of our dollars would be thousands of pesos. And the more pesos, or the more of the value of what you're trying to trade it into, the higher that number means the less value their money holds against our dollar. Well, and everybody listening here is, from the States, and they're like, well, why is that such a big problem? Well, the big problem of it is that we've been bullies. We've been bullies on the school playground because of it. And so what that has forced people to do, countries to do, other kids on the playground the bully's picking on me. They're basically using their money to buy all of our resources, and it works for them, but we're kind of left with the short stick. We're getting some value out of it, but we're not getting everything out of it, and it's costing us more, or it's hurting or hindering us more. So what happens is the kids on the playground start to all collaborate and come together and work together to go against the bully. So what has happened is there's a thing called BRICS nations, which is 22 plus countries. They're adding countries. They just added some more in January, and they'll be adding more this year that are on the list. But the BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Those were the first nations that came together to be able to say, hey, let's work together so that way we can trade our goods between Brazil and India, but not have to use the US dollar. Because what was happening is anytime anybody was making a trade, they had to trade it in US dollar, whether they were United States or not. So Brazil was having to get United States dollar and then send it over to India, and then India would have to trade it back into, rupees or whatever other denomination that they have, because I know there's an alternate denomination over there. So my point being is that is where that bully feature comes into, is that we are dictating the world scene with one currency. And that currency is high in value, and it's costing other people a lot of money. It takes a lot of time and to move, and the amount of money that you have to spend between. So the BRICS nation has now, like I said, 22 plus countries. And this means that these nations can trade between each other in their own currencies without have to utilize the US petrodollar, and be able to start kind of cutting out that gouging. How many of us have, went to the store, and for instance, how many of us have a vehicle? If you're in the States, most of you do. And it's cheaper to take your vehicle to the mechanic on the corner who services all types of vehicles versus taking it to the dealership, because we know the dealership has a markup on not only the parts, but the labor. And so it's really important to understand that the BRICS nations are now starting to go direct instead of going to the dealership. And that is, there's a lot of geopolitical things behind it. We're not going to jump into that today, but just good for you to understand the BRICS is a main reason why the United States is losing value outside of the simple fact that they are no longer attached to a gold standard. But that's why they're losing value on a global scale. Again, the ISO 222 family, the XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algorand, all of these quant that are in there, they solve this entire issue. And that is actually what's happening, is BRICS and other nations are starting to partner with the ISO 222 family to start implementing new rails into the system to say, hey, I can send my goods and services over to India and not have to trade it into one exchange, take the hit, trade it, and then get it into the other exchange and take a hit. How many of us own a business here and you accept payments through PayPal or Stripe and you get your payment and they keep $5, $10, $15 of it? And you're like, man, stinks. How many of you go traveling and use an ATM and you pull out your money and you get an ATM fee, you get an exchange fee from one bank, then another exchange fee from the other bank, and you're feed 3 times on pulling out money one time? So it's the understanding that that is an old tired system that is dying, and it is something, guys, my only opinion, this is only my opinion, but is why we have things called wars. It's what we go after resources, because resources keep dominance. And cryptocurrency is solving these issues. It's why, I talk about when I go off on the woo-woo side of things, is though the change that's happening, it's happening physically here now because of these things, and why we're seeing, wars and things pop up, which none of us are fans of. It is simply, war is only to create money. War is the biggest money maker creator that there is. And that's why whenever something starts to get threatened, we break out into wars to go over after resources because of the dominance over the resource. And usually it's the dominance over the petrodollar to ensure that that stays the dominant factor. And so it's really important to understand that the geopolitical side of things has a huge, huge part in cryptocurrency. And guys, look, I'm not a political person. I used to dive into politics a lot when I was younger. Now I don't, because I have understood something, and I understand the game that's being played.
If people paid as much attention as they do with all this political stuff as they do with crypto, everybody would be millionaires.
And that's the thing. They don't want people to know about cryptocurrency because they don't want people to be in cryptocurrency at such a cheap value right now. And I know some people are like, 60,000 Bitcoin is not cheap, Tara. Granted, yes, absolutely, it is not. But there are other projects and assets out there that are so much cheaper, pennies, that will be a just as equally or more value of Bitcoin is right now, but because it's actually being purposely withheld, because again, the main poobahs want to make sure they have full control of these assets before a community can get a hold of them, because they understand that if the whole entire world understood the value of cryptocurrency and where it's going and certain projects that are actually going to take us there and solve these problems, they would, everybody, the top 1% would no longer be 1%. It would be like the top 60, 80%, because everybody would be buying this and everybody would become their own bank. Well, what do you mean become your own bank, Tara? Well, when you own assets, Bitcoin, any of these different assets, it comes down to the simple fact that you then hold the quote unquote gold in your possession. So back when before we were pulled off the gold standard, you would have gold that you held within your safe, or however you held your gold in your home. It would allow you to simply stop and say, hey, I can carve off a shaving of this gold and loan it out to David, and David, you're going to need to pay me that plus this half of that back. So okay, I carved off, it's 10 ounces. All right, David, I gave you 10 ounces worth of gold. That's this value. When you pay me back, the interest is going to be, I need 15 ounces back. That is becoming your own bank. So when you are your own bank and holding your own cryptocurrencies in your own assets and on your own wallets, and we will talk about wallets in a minute, it comes down to the simple fact that you can then, when these assets become a value that the bank needs or other large entities need, you can loan this to them. You can loan it to family members. You can loan it to, strangers. You literally become the function of the bank. And that is why, guys, cryptocurrency you're starting to hear about it in the mainstream, but it's only how they want you to hear about it, like Bitcoin and the ETF, because at the end of the day, they want you in a controlled environment. And the information I'm sharing here today is a non-controlled environment where it's decentralized, it's not centralized. And it means at the end of the day that you become valuable, or your assets become extremely valuable because nobody owns them but yourself. And so this was the same thing that happened when they called all the gold back. They did not want, the general population holding they can hold under a certain amount of gold. And so we're in the same, history repeats itself. What happened when the gold and silver is now happening within the cryptocurrency side of things. And that is why you get some of the story, but you don't get the whole story. And so I'm going to pause right there, guys, and I'm going to open up some mics here. We have Chef Andy up here. It's so good to see you, my friend. You want to jump in and ask some questions or introduce yourself, Chef Andy?
Well, it's been very educational, this whole business, because eventually I want to be able to offer my products and services, not only the sauces, but apparel, things like that, along with this new company. But the idea is, to have that instantaneous gratification. It's just like anything else in life. The quicker, the better sometimes. It doesn't apply all the time to cooking, because sometimes you have to simmer something that, to get full value out of whatever it is that you're cooking. But the simpler, the better, in creating more value for people, and also having less, I don't like to use the word pain, but less hassle in that transformation of dollars. When I was in Italy, my host there took me to the Italian bank, and then all I had to do, of course, was put my credit card in, and out came the euros. And I wasn't totally familiar with the exchange of the euros and how much dollars they were worth. But fortunately, eventually I got familiar with it. But that was it. And I didn't know. And then when I came back to the States, I went right to the bank with some of the euros that I had left, and I got the American dollars back. But it's interesting because in the context of what you're talking about, the quicker, the better. And it saves time, it does save money, and it saves a lot of angst, saves a lot of aggravation in it. So I'm really enjoying this conversation, and thanks so much. You guys add so much value to the community. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Chef Andy. Thank you so much on this side. I think we were on mute on that side. Sorry about that. But yes, Chef Andy, you brought up a good point. When you speak about the simple fact of the application within business, right? The application of how cryptocurrency will impact our businesses. Right now, I've only been talking about like the basics and kind of us as a personal side, but in our business, it's going to revolutionize again the time and the amount of money we're spending in fees. And so it'll be instant. The same thing that it happens for the public will be happening for the professional, the corporate side of things. So money will be transferred between one entity to another entity instantly. It's going to allow us to be able to, if you have employees, you're going to be able to literally pay an employee per hour. So you're going to have systems to where you can come in, the employee checks in, clocks in, and as that employee, completes an hour of work, bada bing, boop, there's $20 in their bank account, whatever, minus whatever fees and taxes that, and I say fees in the sense of what taxes are withheld, not so much of,
Uncle Sam's still going to get his.
Exactly.
His
which leads us to the simple fact of this comes, and look, this is really where it gets threatening to people, because people like being anonymous in the sense of like, I want to keep my finances kind of anonymous to myself. And when this starts happening, when the digitalization starts happening, it's going to be where you're not the transparency is key, guys. People are going to be able to see who pays you, what they paid you for, you know, the whole thing about working under the table. I know when I was younger, I worked under the table, not, and
Hey girl, hey girl.
I know, let me clean that
No,
up.
you didn't.
Let me clean that
No,
up.
you didn't.
I worked for a restaurant and they paid me underneath the table, meaning they paid me cash. And so that point being is, you know, I was like, what, 14? I wasn't even really able to be working at that point, guys. Welcome to a small country town. Anywho, point being is that's not traceable. That's not, people can't, there's no paper trail on it. And then that's not really taxable if you're not honest to tell the, you know, IRS that you made this money and that you need to be taxed on it. And a lot of times, you know, people are a bit kind of fearful of the fact of, I don't want people controlling that. I don't want people knowing that. And what I share with people is
They
that
already know.
they already know. That's why they document it how they already document it. But the other side of that is, it's really going to be easier for you because your taxes can be pulled at the same time that you're paid. And so whatever money you have is, you know, you're not paying taxes on at the end of it because it's the tax settlement happens at the time of transaction. And so it's really going to be beneficial for you in a way to be able for tracking and whatnot. But back to the business side of things. You right now, you guys, like on our, in our Business in a Box, you can go out and you can purchase products within cryptocurrency. We accept cryptocurrency now. If you want to pay us, you know, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, a couple other ones, you actually save 10% by paying us within a cryptocurrency format. The thing about that is it's instant. So we get our money instantly. The other side of that too is that we are then able to move that money over into whatever asset we want. We can store it in Bitcoin. We can leave it in, you know, that value. We can move it into a utility token and store it there. We can move it over to our bank account and spend it like, you know, traditional dollars and cents. There's so many ways that we can move it around. The biggest thing though, again, is it cuts down the time. And that is one thing that happens is within business is, like, I used to work for an employer that did not accept credit cards. And I'm thinking, boy, you guys are so behind the time. They still,
and a lot of businesses are behind time because of the unknown and because of the security risks. Yeah, fees.
That's the one reason why my ex-employer did not accept credit cards, was because they didn't want to pay the fees on it. And I like, transfer the fees to the customer, make the customer who's paying it, they have to pay the fee. And they didn't want to do that. And what that was doing was creating a technical debt, like we've talked about in the past, that they are not going to be able to get out of past if they don't evolve. And they would still do traditional, well, we'll send you a check or we'll wire the money to you. And I get the old school mentality of it, but the time, the cost, and what you lose in the meantime does not work. We are an instant society. We are a society of convenience. We want things to be instantaneously. And sometimes what happens is, stop sharing and reshare because it takes. And so what happens is that it comes down to the simple side of, this is solving the problems of time, energy, and money. And so our businesses will be able to accept cryptocurrencies, will be able to pay for services or goods or products within cryptocurrencies, because people are going to be inclined to want to do that because it's cheaper. I want to tell you right now, if I can get, you know, a $2,000, you know, a client pays us $2,000 to do, you know, work right now, we're paying anywhere from $20 to $30 in fees on that. You know, I'd like to keep that in my pocket, just like you as a business would like to keep that in your pocket. What if you only paid 50 cents or $1 for that money to be transferred, and, you know, all the way up to, you know, $100,000, you're paying cents. Because at the end of the day, it's cheaper, faster.
That's lunch money, girl.
I'm telling you, that's exactly what it is.
In Mexico, that's a whole week worth.
That's a whole week worth of lunch. So, you know, you brought up a great point, Chef Andy, and that's, you know, the value of being able to, you know, jump up here and share, you know, in this, you know, share within the room, is that it brings up other points that really help of kind of us hone in and, kind of connect all the dots, because that's what this conversation is about, is connecting dots. So
it's like prime example right now, if you guys are in the metaverse, that once again, you can join us from your cell phone. You can join us from your laptop. You can join us from your actual iPad. And if you have the VR headsets, where back about 4 years ago, boy, ain't nobody gonna go spend no $500 on no headsets to get into the metaverse. Now, if you have a local Sam's Club, I saw on the news the other day that you can go to Sam's Club and you can get the Quest 2 VR headsets now for $99. Okay. And so that is a steal to be able to see what this 3D immersive experience is all about, especially those of you that don't know what it's about and are out here talking about, oh, I'm not sure about that. Oh, I'm not sure about this. It's Web 3. What comes after Web 2 that we're in now? 3.
1, 2,
and
3.
So this is where we share with you guys all. If you are in the Hello Plaza, Chef Andy has a storefront where he's able to share his amazing pasta sauces, where now anybody from around the world, he can say, hey, I accept Bitcoin. Hey, I accept, Ethereum. Hey, I accept XRP. Hey, I accept, XML. I accept all of these things, to where literally it's just like that. He's not getting dinged by PayPal. He's not getting dinged by Stripe. He's not getting dinged by his bank. And even more so, like we talked about, there's actually cards out there that hold these Bitcoins and has this AI technology that's allowing us to make this transition, which is why we share with you all. AI is here. Metaverse is here. Web3 is here. Cryptocurrency is here. Just think of the metaverse as the whole new world. The NFTs and things of that sort that you hear is the infrastructure, right? And this crypto is the new financial sector that we're moving into. And if you're like, oh, I'm not sure about this, stop using the filters on TikTok. Stop using the filters on your live, because that in itself is just a new wave of them introducing you into this Web3, into utilizing this new technology, where to now you can think it, you can create it at the speed of thought without you actually being there. And so, Chef Andy, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to say, add on to that, you made a great point about the simple fact of the instantaneous results. We are already living in a society where we, love having everything instant, right? It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
And that is precursor, guys. That is basically, when anybody, you go to a sporting event, or any of you that played sports, you have to do a warm up before the game. You have to get those muscles warmed up. You see the athletes warming up. That is the precursor. And that's where we're at. We are being warmed up. That's why everything right now, we say lipstick on a pig, because everything in our society already seems digital. And you're like, but everything already is digital, this, that, and the other, right? And so it really comes down to the simple fact that they want you to understand, so that way the mass adoption is easier when they go ahead and, solidify things in the background, right? It's the, let's, make the plug, put all the connections in the background once everybody up front is doing the song and dance that we expect them to do. So, absolutely. Thank you so much, Chef Andy, for jumping up here and sharing that. Did you have anything else before we move on? He might be in listed mode, not a problem.
But before we do, you guys make sure you go and visit the Singing Chef sauces.com and do get his sauces. You actually can go into the metaverse from his biz in a box up at the top. As we share with people, we help you build your foundation, number one. So if you're using that crusty, dusty old website, you're using one of those, link to trees, you're using one of those 10K things, it is time to upgrade, especially if you haven't upgraded before the pandemic, after the pandemic. We're 3 years after that. And so now it's really time for you guys to start investing in your business and start implementing these new tools and these new strategies into your business, especially as we talked about crypto, because this is something that we share with people. Do not get left behind, because when you get left behind, you're then forced to then just go do this, go do that. And before it's all over with, you've spent all this money when you are trying to get to it, when you could have got with a company such as us to help you pivot these things and implement these things step by step, instead of you trying to do your social media, right? And you don't have a foundation in order we got to start with the foundation first before we can move forward. And so definitely go and check out Chef Andy's Biz in a Box. It is the singingchefsauces.com, singingchefsauces.com. Once again, that you guys can go and check out.
Absolutely. So the next portion of this that we're going to jump into is like, okay, great, Tara. So you've explained what the basics are and all that. How do I get involved? Like, if I do want to be involved, what are some aspects of how I can get involved?
Join the pivot.
There you go. Period. And again, guys, it's simply, we've packed all this information. We have a huge guide, 17 pages. We have tons of videos in there and all of that within our Pivot membership. For those on Clubhouse, you can go right up top to the link above and jump in there and check it out. Again, $7 a month gives you access to that. If you want to meet with us, you can upgrade to the $27 or the $97 a month one, and that allows you to actually meet with us. If you join the VIP membership at $97 a month, we will help you do whatever you need to. So if you're like, hey, I want to start, kind of owning my own assets. I want to, how do I set up my wallet? How do I do this, that, and the other? We will hold your hand. You can ask questions, all of these things. And we make sure that this, guys, is totally secure for you guys, because security is the biggest thing that a lot of people talk about, is how do we keep these things secure when we do have this? And so, we're going to talk about now how to be involved, how to get involved. If you're a business, to be involved, you can accept cryptocurrency right now, today. You just go out to, literally, you can go out to Google, guys, and, cryptocurrency payment providers. There's a handful of them out there. We use a couple of them. And it allows you to plug in your wallet. You will need a wallet. Tara, what's a wallet? We're going to talk about that. But you will need to have a crypto wallet in order to be able to accept this money in. So that way, then you can move that money to wherever you need to. So you could do that right now today. You don't have, you could, Chef Andy could be accepting Bitcoin right today for his pasta sauces, if that's what he chose to do. It is something that's just taking and pushing the button, right, Mr. Jones? Press the button. So, how to get involved on a, personal level? Well, the way we're involved, I'll talk about how we're involved, because, there's a multitude of ways. You could be a day trader. We are not day traders. Day traders are somebody that are going to be very in tune with this market. They're going to be part of a community probably that shares a lot of day trading conversations. You really just need to kind of be a professional athlete if you're going to do day trading, because day trading, you can lose your butt real quick. And what I mean by that is, it's kind of like rolling down the window and throwing your money out and it's gone. So you want to just be mindful. I'm not saying don't day trade. There's a lot of people out there that do really, really well on it. I understand it to a level that we could probably do it if we wanted to really focus on that, but it is very tedious. It's an everyday thing, and you really need to know a lot of or be a part of a community that is very trustworthy, that's going to lead you and not lead you astray. So there's that aspect, right? It's kind of like if you were a day trader in the current stock market, you'd be up on Wall Street, and you guys see how hectic and stressful that is, right? It takes a certain person. So that's a great analogy to that one. Long-term investment is the best way to get involved. Long-term investment means that you're going to hold an asset for really over a year of it, and even more than that, 3, 5, 7 to 10 years. Think about those who own Google stock, Amazon stock. They bought it in the early 90s, mid 90s for cents on the dollar. And then all of a sudden, once they got their stock, it was, they've been holding it for the last 10, 20, 30 years, and it's worth thousands now instead of cents. That is the strategy. We are long-term investors, so we invest in projects that we know within the next 7 years will be very well integrated. They will be widely adopted, and those will they will be very well, within the placement of their value. And so that is our strategy. that is because it allows you to purchase and hold. You don't have to be watching what the markets are doing on a daily basis. You don't have to sell when it goes up or sell when it goes down, whatever, however you're playing the market. You don't have to worry about those things. All you have to do is understand what it does. So the project you're purchasing, the project you're getting involved in, you have to understand what and how it works. And so that, in order to do that, I always like to tell everybody there's this thing called coinmarket.com. Coinmarketcap.com. You could go out to Google and type in coinmarketcap.com. And this is kind of, think of like a stock window where you can see what each coin is doing.
It would be like the old NASDAQ that would be on your phone. That would tell you the different prices of the stocks and things of that sort.
That's what it is. So it tells you the prices, it tells you the market cap, it tells you, who's current, where the placement of coins. It just has all of this information in there.
Real quick.
Yes.
Can you explain what market cap is? Because somebody tried to okey doke me on that. I'm like, I know what that means. So a lot of times crypto people try to trick you and stuff. Try to ask
market cap is the amount of currency that is being traded within that cryptocurrency coin. Mm-hmm. So, you could have the ABC coin and that market cap is only $100. Well, that's because there's only, you put 50 in and I put 50 in and that's it.
Yeah.
So the higher the market cap, meaning the more money that is moving through that system, through that pipe, the cryptocurrency is the pipe. As much money that's going through that, the higher it is, means the more the ability of, higher value that can come down the pipeline, right? So that is what market cap is to understand the amount of money that is going to be traveling through that specific coin. So for instance, if we talk about the ISO 222 family, which we were talking about before, that market cap for that is to be projected within 1 quadrillion. It's actually 1 to 2 quadrillion by 2030. So that means that that's how much money will be flowing through that system, those pipes being moved back and forth between different people, different entities, different institutions that are utilizing that. So that is what the market cap is. It's how much is being utilized within that. Like Bitcoin right now's market cap is 1.2 trillion 1.2 billion is how much their market cap is right now. What does that mean? That simply means that is the amount of assets out there being moved around and utilized within that token. And so it will all change as different projects come online and solve different problems. And so the higher the market cap, the more dominance that coin or that system will have. Does that answer your question, Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So how to be involved and how to get involved is a thing that you would need a couple of different things. It's like, we're going to bake a cake now. How do I get how do I even do this? Well, first of all, you need to make sure at home, do you have a bowl? And do you have some sort of either a hand mixer, like it's a spoon or a spatula, or do you have an electric mixer? How are you going to mix this up? And do you have a pan? And do you have a way to bake it? So those are the essentials that you need. Oh, you need ingredients. And you know that if you don't have all the ingredients, you can go to the store and get those. Nowadays, you just order it from the store, but you get the point. You go fetch your ingredients to make your cake. And so that is the same thing that we're going to utilize today when we're talking about how do I get involved? Well, I'm not going to utilize an analogy with a cake, but I'm just showing you that you need a few apparatuses and equipment to understand how and what they're for. So first of all, you need to be connected to the internet somehow, whether that's through your phone or through the internet on a laptop or a computer. You need to have that access that will allow you to be able to go out and access these quote unquote called exchanges. Okay, now we know what an exchange is because it's the same thing like NASDAQ and, these other ones, right? So an exchange simply is where you can go and buy and sell and trade your assets, your cryptocurrency assets. It'd be the same way, like if you go out to your ability to trade on, NASDAQ. If you have your own account with, Charles Schwab or something like that, you can go ahead and be able to make those trades through whatever exchange you're utilizing, right? So exchanges are, a list of exchanges would be an example of, and let me give you the actual definition of what exchange means. A cryptocurrency exchange is a digital marketplace where you can buy and sell and trade your cryptocurrency. That's the official, the lingo is. And I like to tell you guys that because sometimes I just be talking and you guys are like, well, what the heck is that? So here we go. So some of the top exchanges that you could use is crypto.com, Coinbase, Uphold would be another one. There's tons of them out there, guys. Binance. There's tons of them out there. Now, what I would say about exchanges is not all exchanges are created equal. And so do your research, make sure you're and before you do any investments, here's my little, spiel to you all. Don't be investing your rent money. Don't be investing money that you really absolutely need to live and survive. Invest the coffee money, that Starbucks money that you're going to get every day. That's $5-6 Starbucks or whatever, $10 with the muffin or whatever out the door. Probably more than that these days. Invest that money, but don't invest your money that you need because you guys. The other thing is you don't need a lot of money. Yes, Bitcoin's sitting at 60,000, 61,000. But did you guys know that on cryptocurrencies, you can purchase fractions? You do not have to purchase whole. So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin at $61,312. You don't have to purchase that.
Because what happens a lot of times is that people that are unaware of the crypto and even more so stock, right? I didn't know that you could just buy a portion of Apple stock.
Yeah.
You could buy a portion of Tesla stock.
Yep.
I thought I really had to have that exact money of, $61,307 now at that time to get one Bitcoin. And that's absolutely incorrect. So if you do have $10, you do have $20, then we encourage you, start investing, find you somebody. This is no financial advice, right? But this is where instead of you sitting your money in the bank, that the bank is only going to pay you less than 1% of what's in the bank, right? Of your money, 0.001, then you can put your money into like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, and they actually have it to where you can stake it and you can actually make more money than you would at the actual bank. And so this is where we share with you guys to be implementing these tools and processes.
I laugh, guys, because I love it. Mr. Jones here, when he thinks he's just a beginner, but he's talking about the future of things like staking and whatnot. And so I'm just proud because he's picking up on the importance of crypto. And so if I can share this with Mr. Jones and he can pick it up, and my mom can pick it up, then the information we're sharing with you guys will be easy to understand and pick up because it's broken down into simplistic terms. I'm telling you, I needed the same thing.
Because the way that you break it down, as multiple people have said, on the chat and in the chat, is the way that we break it down together. And especially this being your expertise of understanding where we were when we didn't know anything about this. And we had our head in the sand and we were just rolled around the world. Just, my 401k, the little stocks that I don't have that I should be investing more. We didn't know those things. And so us bringing these concepts,
I had no interest in stocks and bonds.
None
I still
whatsoever.
Don't.
Because we thought, our Social Security, we thought that 401k that we were investing in at that job, was going to take care of us. And if you guys don't know, we've been sharing this for the longest. Your Social Security is gone by 2033, right? It's gone. It's obsolete.
Yeah, I paid into that program. I'll never get anything out of it.
Your 401k might not be a good thing. People that had pensions back in the day, just like one of the trucking companies came and told all their employees, hey, sorry,
December 31st, shut the doors.
No pension. and they found a way to swizzle their way out by just shutting down the company to where the pensions are no longer ineffective. And so this is where we encourage you guys all to really stop relying on your job, stop relying on all these other resources, and you take away some of that social media time that you're spending on TikTok, Instagram, everything else, and really go to YouTube. Join our Pivot membership where Tara's put all of this information to where you can get this information and spew it back out like I have, because I go back in there and I watch some of the Pivot stuff as I did earlier to, have this conversation. And so this is really where we want you guys to implement and start, pressing the button at the end of the day. So I see we have Miss Kim up here on stage. Miss Kim, would you like to add on to this topic or tune in to this as well? What you got for us, ma'am?
Yeah, I just jumped in to a little bit. So I just want to say thank you, David and Tara, for this topic, because it's right now the heaven is happening within tomorrow, within the next few days. I wonder, why is the market dropped?
That is a great question, Miss Kim. I'll give you my opinion on it. This is not factual, in whatnot, because we all have opinions about markets. So what Miss Kim was asking for all those that are listening was, tomorrow is the Bitcoin halving. If nobody knows what that is essentially tomorrow where any Bitcoin that is mined, first of all, Bitcoin has to be mined, like as in gold and silver. It has to be mined. It's mined through mathematical equations. It's mined through laptops. They don't physically go out and have to get it out of the earth, but it is mined. Bitcoin mining takes up a lot of energy, by the way, too. That's one kind of downside of Bitcoin. That's why some people are fans or not fans. That's not our opinion to give. You can be a fan of whatever you want to be a fan of. But the Bitcoin halving tomorrow is essentially where anything that is going to be mined will now be, right now it's like at 6, it'll be tomorrow, it'll be 3. Everything will be cut in half. And that means basically the supply is cut in half and what you're getting for is, cut in half. So it's the halving. So that's what the half means when it says halving. And now, as many know that do follow cryptocurrency, the market is down, and quote unquote, we are quote unquote in a bull market right now. And I'll explain what a bull and a bear market is. It's the same thing as what is in the traditional stocks, bull and bear market. So a bear is when everything's tough. We're not making very much gains. A bull market is where everything's just flying off the charts, going up. Everybody's making lots of gains and all that. So we are quote unquote in a bull market right now. And if anybody has been watching, we're going to use Bitcoin for the example, because that's the question of the Bitcoin halving and why the markets are reflecting down and in a loss right now. My opinion is this is orchestrated. If you understand the game and you understand the big boys at top, do you understand that they now have their hands in the pie of Bitcoin, and this is orchestrated? It is to FUD everybody out of the market that are the weary. It is to scare everybody. Again, a week ago, Bitcoin was sitting at 70,000 plus. And so it is to scare people in order to get them out of the market, in order to buy cheap. And it also has to go geopolitical. Anytime anything's happening geopolitically wise, which we all know there's the upset that's happening in the Middle East right now, that has a huge impact on not only the regular stock market, but it also has it on the current crypto stock, or crypto exchanges as well. And so all of this, there's a lot of people that talked about how when the halving comes around, it's going to go to 100,000, 200,000 immediately. And, those are all theories. When there are people that are at top that are now invested and have their hands and they get to control how this goes down, it really impacts the price. Now, I will tell you, it's not going to stay down. This is only a short period of time. You got to ride the wave out. Take the loss, keep your cards on the table, your chips on the table, and it will bounce back, and it's going to bounce back and do better than what 70,000. Even it almost, less than a month ago, it almost got up to 80,000, where it's all-time high. I think actually it did touch 80,000. But my point being is we're going to go back past those prices. This is the normal ebb and flow, but there are a lot of geopolitical and control factors that are influencing the Bitcoin halving and the entire market. Because again, guys, Bitcoin is the number one. It's first to market, so it's number one. It has the biggest market cap and all that. It influences the market whether you like Bitcoin or you don't like Bitcoin. It is an influencer within the market. So whatever it's doing, it usually means the rest of the tokens and coins are following suit. Does that help, Miss Kim?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, thank you for explaining, because I've been in the space for the last 4 years, and I'm watching, the big boy, how they manipulate the market so they can buy them cheaper. So anyhow, I just want to add, in terms of Bitcoin is a future, it's a new digital asset, a digital gold. So within this digital gold, the integrity of it, everything is just like, thank you for being here and educate others, about Bitcoin, because I believe in it. I am for it. So I just want to share the little bit tricks that I have somewhat. I know Venmo is not really safe, but Venmo does issue the credit card. And then in the credit card, when I spend money to buy grocery, I get percentage of the money spent. So by the end of the month, I pay off what I owe within their credit card, and they give me back the interest, the reward in cryptocurrency. So anyway, it just like it's little tricks that I have, and I like it, because every time $15, $20, $30, $40 reward I have, they change around, they put into the crypto that I receive. So that's just one of my tricks that I have. I just want to share that. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, David.
You're absolutely welcome, Miss Kim. First of all, thank you for coming up here and asking those questions and sharing those tips, because you are absolutely right. We all like when we're spending money to get some rewards back. And what's better when you can, have the ability to spend your money and get some sort of reward back, whether, for a long time it was frequent flyer miles or it was hotel points, and now it's cryptocurrency. And that is the beautiful thing about when we are making this wave and we're moving into this market in the new age, the new digital financial age here. It really is going to allow us to do things like that. So absolutely, Miss Kim, thank you so much. I love it. And thank you for being here. And that shares more into like exactly where, I was sharing earlier, is how to be invested, how to get invested. So you guys, you need to, in order to purchase your cryptocurrency, you need to be a part of an exchange, and that would require you to go out. You can access many exchanges either on the internet or through your applications on your phone. We utilize Uphold. We really like Uphold. I've been using Uphold for the last 2 or 3 years. I've used crypto.com. I've used Binance. I've used a couple of the other ones, but majority is on Uphold, and I've had really great success with that. Again, this is kind of going to come down to which grocery store do you prefer to shop at. Do you like a Kroger, or do you like a Fred Meyer? Do you like a Walmart? Do you like HEB? Do you like the Piggly Wiggly? What is it that you like to shop? Whole Foods. That's just going to be a preference of where you go to shop. You're going to have to create an account. And that account, it's going to go through verifications to make sure you are who you are. It will require your social security number, because they are tracking this to be able to share this information with the IRS, which will lead me into, I know someone's going to ask it and go, well, what's the tax stipulations and all that? For right now, because cryptocurrency does not have regulations tied to it, they are taxing it at 40%. So they're taking a huge chunk out of it, guys. So it is very important to understand how you get taxed, when you get taxed. And I was watching a whole YouTube on a tax professional who specializes only in cryptocurrency tax. And he was talking about how you and I, as the everyday citizen, how we need to be reporting our cryptocurrency to the IRS in order to make sure that we are transparent and we're not getting dinged on it later, because they will err in the side of judgment on their end, meaning it'll err for in their benefit, and you're going to be paying more than what you probably
They
really
want that
owe.
money.
Exactly. And so if you do not report it, and guys, let me tell you how he explained it in simple terms to report it. And how we are reporting it to our accountant who does our taxes. I'm literally pulling up every transaction, and I have to say, okay, we moved US dollar into this currency. And so this was a purchase for this amount. Okay, I exchanged Bitcoin into Ethereum. It was at this price, and I changed it to Ethereum. This is how much I exchanged, and this is what I currently have. You have to state if you made a positive gain or if you made a negative, if it was a negative on there. You have to show that. Yes, it is tedious, and I hate to say that, but if you don't do it, there are stories out there of people who have not been doing it, and the IRS shows up and goes, "Hi, you owe us money for cryptocurrency, and we show that you owe us $400,000." And you're like, "I only bought $5,000. How do I owe you $400,000?" Because when they start looking at the from point A to point B, and the exchanges share this information with the IRS, they're going to make an evaluation whether you gained money or lost money. And sometimes they can see where you went from a large amount of Bitcoin to another currency, and that was a large amount purchase. My point being is they will err to make sure that they're getting lots of money. So you need to understand, please talk to your tax professionals. Understand that you need to be transparent, because the more transparent that you show if you made a gain or a loss, then you're going to make sure that you're not going to be paying thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars because they goofed in their air and made it for their benefit. So that is how, just know that. Again, please reach out to if you already did your taxes this year, because it's already past the 15th, just reach out to them and say, "Hey, I forgot to." You guys, they can make an amendment to your taxes and take care of it. So I encourage everybody to do that, to be transparent, because you just don't want that. You don't want that back end of the slinky catching up to you and being like, "Oh, hey, 10 years later, you owe us $1 million." And so be mindful about that. So on the exchange, you will need to create an account. They will go through a verification step. It will be, verified. They will be sharing your information within your exchanges or your purchases or your selling with IRS. So that's why it behooves you to share as well. And then when you purchase it, I always liken this, guys, to like going to the casino. Maybe you walk in and you're playing the blackjack, table. And you have, $100 in chips, and you walk up and you've been playing for 2 hours. Okay, you're now up to $300. You're doing great. Okay, it's time to go get something to eat. You want to go stretch your legs, go to the restroom. How many of you get up from the table and leave your tokens or your chips on the table? Nobody does, because then at that point, anybody could pick up your chips and walk away with it. And it's like, "Hey, what happened to my money?" Well, you didn't take it with you. So an exchange is like the blackjack table. You can buy, you can sell, you can trade there. But once you get done and you leave, you want to go ahead and remove your money off of the exchange and put it in your wallet. Put it in where you're going to store it. There are 2 types of wallets, guys. They're digital wallets. That's what they're called. There's a hot wallet, aka a warm wallet, however you want to call that. And there's a cold wallet. It's called cold storage wallet. This is another word that people use. A hot wallet. What is a hot wallet, Tara? A hot wallet is going to be like Exodus or Trust. Those are going to be apps that you download on your phone. It is hot because it is connected to the internet at all times. That is what makes it a hot wallet. A hot wallet is very secure, but it does have a bit of room for error if it is connected to the internet at all times. That's basically meaning that if there's a really good thief that knows how to crack the code or something, and has done really, really good on that,
You mean
they
like
can
they crack that MGM?
exactly, they can get in and they can crack that code and they can take your, thing. Now that it doesn't happen often, it has been known to happen, but it's not common. So a hot wallet is safe to store, but I would not recommend you storing your cryptocurrency on a hot wallet long term. Only short term. If you need to be kind of moving money off an exchange and you don't have time to go put it on your cold wallet, go put it in your warm wallet.
The one thing I do want you guys to understand, don't let these terminologies stop you from pressing the button and going and just purchasing something or doing something, right? You can learn these steps along the way. Tara's sharing this information for you as you get into crypto, and then you can start to transition some of your money the other way around, right? To make sure it's safeguarded. But we don't want that to stop you from at least investigating and finding out more.
Exactly.
And once again, this is where our Pivot membership comes into play, where we can show you, we can teach you, or we can even do it for you.
Exactly. And so, just don't let fear, stop you guys, because you're going to miss out. And that's, it's not FOMO. I don't want to FOMO anybody, which stands for fear of missing out. But it is the fact that it will come mainstream. We will hit the top of the bell curve one day, probably between now and 2030. And we're going to, at that point, you're going to want to be like, dang it, I should have got in. And again,
you remember that room I was in and they were talking about crypto and why now?
Yeah.
And I didn't press no buttons.
And again, you don't have to have, invest just the $10, guys, we have a weekly buy-in of $10. That it's automatically, it's just $10. It buys in on a couple. We have 2 or 3 coins that we buy in. So it's a total of $20 or $30. And at the end of the day, we made that's our day. It's called daily, average cost average, but it's more weekly cost average is what we're doing. You could do monthly, you could do daily, you could do, quarterly, whatever you want to. Just get in and start it, because once you start, you'll see how easy it is. So that was a warm wallet. I explained a hot wallet, a cold wallet. A cold wallet would be something that is a physical, tangible asset in your hands. It is going to be able to plug into your computer, or connect to, your phone, and you will be able to disconnect it. That's why it's called cold, because you can disconnect it from the internet, from anything that has I liken it to like a landline, anything that can get into access of it, it won't allow. So an example, yes, do not lose it. And I will tell you something, guys, else. This is a public service announcement. When you open these exchanges, when you open your wallets, you're going to get the thing called a seed phrase, and that's going to be 20 words. Be sure to record those, write it down, and save them. Do not dismiss them, because if you ever need to get back into something and you don't have access to that program, they can say, well, what's your seed phrases? We can move that over. You can move that over to a new wallet. You just need your seed phrases. You need to know that, and it's like having the keys to get into the house, okay? Just know that when you're setting these things up, don't dismiss it. These are really important. So a cold wallet example would be a Ledger, a Trezor. All of these things are available online to purchase. Here's another public service announcement. Don't go out to Amazon and go type in a Ledger Nano, a Trezor. That's just a couple of them. Don't go out there and type it in and purchase it off of Amazon. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be okay. But there's that risk that somebody, a supplier that is giving these to Amazon, has already hacked in. They've already got the seed phrases. They already have access to it. So the moment you put your money on it, they can swipe it. How do I purchase something that's authentic, Tara? Go out to the actual website. Go to Trezor.com, go to Ledger.com, go to, and again, you can go out to Google and type in cold storage cryptocurrency wallets. It's going to bring up a list of them. You can go Google and get all the research on it, how they work, other people's reviews on it, everything. But all I'm sharing with you guys is to make sure that you just purchase it from the actual supplier and not from Amazon, because you don't want to run that risk. There has been stories out there that people who have done that, and they've had all of their cryptocurrency stolen. And so I just don't want that to happen to you. So I share these things with you guys because, again, education, where I know where my pitfalls are, I know how to navigate around them, and I know how to make sure that I'm good to go. So you go out to your exchange, you buy some Bitcoin. I want to buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. Now would be a great time while it's down. Like anytime the market is down, they call that a great time to buy. Anytime the market is up, it's a great time to hold or sell. So the markets are down right now. It's good to go out, put $10. I know Uphold will, the least amount you can purchase is $10. They won't let you do anything less than 10. So that's why I keep on using the word the $10 denomination. So you go out there and utilize this, purchase that, and then go out. So the first thing is you need to have an exchange, whatever you want to utilize. The second thing you need to have is a wallet. Now, yes, a warm wallet does not cost you. Exodus, Trust, those wallets, they do not cost you. A cold storage wallet will cost you anywhere from $50 to up to $300, depending on which one you get. So again, it comes down to the simple fact of make sure you are aware of what one you want to get, but don't let it stop you. Like David said, don't let it say, well, because I don't, have a cold storage wallet, I can't get it. We had actually one young lady within our Pivot membership. She's like, well, I haven't purchased anything yet because I don't have a cold wallet yet, and I want to get that. And I was like, don't let that stop you. Please, please, please. $10 on a hot wallet is not going to be a risk. If you got $1 million on a hot wallet, I would be getting that off there. But $10, don't let it stop you. Go out and get your hot wallet. I've listed 2, Exodus, Trust. We use both of those. They're great ones. There are a laundry list of out there. Again, you can go out to Google and say, Google, cryptocurrency warm wallets, or you can join our Pivot membership, and that all of this information is in the guide that we have. All of this is in the guide. It even in our guide shows you how to get on exchanges and what to do when you kind of get on exchanges. And if you need help, you can, join our $27 a month membership, and you can book one-on-one with us, and we can answer any questions for you. And so that is the beauty, and hold your hand, being able to set some of this stuff up. That is the beauty of being able to have a trusted source to say, hey guys, I got questions. I want to do this myself, but I got questions. And so that's why we did create our Pivot, one of many reasons. But so you got your exchange, you got your warm wallet. You're going to go out and discover how to get your cold wallet. And that is how your investment strategy works. That's simple. The biggest thing I would share with guys is to identify every project in coin has white pages attached to it. If you go out to coinmarketcap.com, you click on Bitcoin, that will take you into a screen that's just solely about all the numbers and all the information about Bitcoin. And on there, they'll have a link that will go to their Bitcoin white pages. What are white pages? It's the same thing that white pages are in medicine. So there might be a medicine that's created, and when that medicine is created, there is going to be a white page on, how it's made, what the side effects are, all of the information about that medicine. Same thing for cryptocurrency. You would go out there and simply just not purchase because they're all free. I'm sorry. You'd go out there and you would identify the white pages that you want, read them, and it'll tell you all about the project. It'll tell you about what it solves. It'll tell you about, how it was created, who created it, how it's if it's mined or not mined. And mined, I'm saying MINED, mined, like how you mine for gold. Some cryptocurrencies are mined, guys, like Bitcoin. One reason I will share with you guys, and this is just a personal opinion, this is not, just don't come for me, but this is only my personal opinion. Bitcoin is really expensive to mine. That is a fact. That's not my opinion. But my opinion is that, and I've heard a lot of theories around this, is that Bitcoin holds a lot of value and will be very, very influential in our future, but it will not be the number one choice in the future. And the reason being, and I know I might have burst some bubbles, and I'm sorry, but the reason being is because it is too expensive to mine. And so literally right now, the Bitcoin mining that is happening uses more power and energy than the whole country of Argentina. That's a lot. if we were to go 100% Bitcoin, where we used Bitcoin for everything in the current day right now, that would take more power than what the world has to offer. That's a lot, guys, and that's a huge environmental issue that then pops up. And so you will know that when you read the Bitcoin white pages. Look, I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a great value in what it does within the market and the key part it plays within the market, but it's very important for us to understand not only today, but future, what it's going to do, things are going to do in the future. And so that is why when you start talking about these different utility tokens instead of store of value tokens, you start to understand they're not mined. There's only a certain amount created, and that is because that creates supply and demand and that then creates the value of the coin that's happening. So it is really important to read all the white pages before you guys invest, to understand what it does, who made it, how they made it. You don't want to go invest in anything that Sam Bankman-Fried has created, right? Because obviously we know Sam Bankman-Fried is now sentenced to prison because of his role in the FTX collapse. And so again, we share these points of interest in this information for you to simply understand that there's really good apples out there, but there's also some bad apples. And when you understand the playing field, you understand the game, you understand how the cycle works, you understand all of these things, it allows us to then make wise choices. And that is why, to me, this is not financial advice, but if anybody's looking to get started, if you want to go buy Bitcoin, great, go buy some Bitcoin. But anything in the ISO 222 category family it is a great family to go check out, read the white papers and assets in there and understand how they're working. I've explained a lot of them today about how they're working. I just haven't listed them out and said what they were, but I've shared with how they're working in the system. And again, when we all bought our stocks and bonds and all that back in the day, and assets of Google and Amazon, when they were only cents, not thousands of dollars, we didn't know what they would do, but we went out and we read and we figured out, and we're like, okay, well, this is what this company is going to do. This company is going to, one day be able to not only provide books via online, but they'll be able to provide any kind of asset in the blink of an eye. And how many of you can order Amazon to your door right now and it'll be there within an hour? That is what has happened within the future casting of Amazon. And so that is the same thing that's happening within cryptocurrency, is to understand that when you identify the project, you identify the problem it's solving, and you see, oh, this is real, and the partners and financial institutions or corporations that are partnering with these different assets, you'll then understand how it's going to be a part of the bigger picture. And again, I just encourage everybody to not let fear keep you on the bench and out of the game. I'll share this little story with you guys. For most of you that see me on whether on social media or my pictures, y'all know that my head is half shaved, and so I have wore my hair like this for a while now. And I remember oh goodness, so Bitcoin came to market in 2009. This was probably around 2011 to 2013 timeframe. I'm sitting in the barber's chair, and my barber's, cutting the bottom of my hair, doing that. And, he's on the phone. And so not talking to me. And there was another barber right next to me, and he's having a conversation with the client in his chair. And of course, it's loud enough like this so you can hear everything that is being said. And so, of course, I turn around and I'm listening in, and the guy in the chair, the client, was telling the barber, he's like, man, do you own any of that Bitcoin? And the barber's like, nah, man, I don't have any of that Bitcoin. He's like, I didn't get in, and now it's worth like $1,500 or, oh no, I'm sorry. At that time, it was already up to like $10,000, guys. So now it's like over $10,000, and I just can't afford that. And he said, this guy was sitting there, and I was thinking the same thing to myself, going, yeah, I should have bought some Bitcoin too. And because I had heard about it, maybe a year or two before that, but I just didn't, I I didn't take action. I allowed my fear of, oh, this ain't safe. I'm going to get my money stolen. I'm going to get taken advantage of, all of this stuff. And I don't have $1,500 when it was at that point. I didn't have $1,500 to purchase it. But so I'm listening to this conversation, and it's over 10 grand. And the client is talking to the barber and telling the barber, and the barber's like, oh man, I don't have that kind of money. I can't purchase one. I don't got 10 grand lying around. And the guy in the chair's like, do you not know you can purchase a fraction of Bitcoin? Like you could only, like if you got $100 right now, you could go out and buy, $100 worth of Bitcoin. You don't have to buy the whole thing. And the guy goes, really? He's like, yeah, it's just like stocks. It's just like, buying into, the shares of a company. You just buy fractions of the shares that you want. And I remember sitting there going, I didn't even know that. Oh, I thought I was like the, barber. I had to have a whole $10,000 or $11,000 to buy one whole thing. And so I share that with you guys because as we get to know more knowledge and you become empowered by the knowledge, you then have the ability to make wise choices, and wise choices will change the future of your life. And as I started this conversation off in the beginning, is the baby boomers are the biggest population that have the largest amount of assets. And as they age and they start to, that generation starts to die off. I don't mean that in a mean way. Again, my mom's a baby boomer, so I want her to live forever. But as those assets are traded and transferred, this is why BlackRock, let me get it out my mouth here. This is why BlackRock and Vanguard and all these other ones are getting involved, is because they want to have, they basically want baby boomers to move their allocations over into their ETFs. So that way, at the end of the day, when those stocks and those trades and those assets are handed down to the next generation, they've already got their hand in the pie, and that they can get what they, their little cut. And what a lot of people don't understand is, why am I going to go to the restaurant and buy a steak when I can go out to the pasture and from the farmer and buy the whole cow and put it in my freezer? And I am the restaurant. I became the restaurant. I can serve you anything that is, from the cow, instead of just going and paying $50 for that one piece of steak when $300 buys the whole cow. My point being is, don't get bamboozled into thinking you have to go through these large entities to purchase your assets, because at that point they now are making money off you. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because of course we're in business, and there's other businesses out there, but it's when they're transparent, and when transparency comes down and they have the best interest in mind for you. And that is not what they have in mind. They want to get control of the assets in order, so that way when the transfer happens, because we are going to see the greatest transfer of wealth happen over the next 10 years. As baby boomers start to age out and move on, their assets are being moved over into Generation X and millennials' hands. And just like we had a conversation last Thursday with a young lady that is a financial planner, we were sharing with her in the conversation that, look, the baby boomers and the older generational X want to sit down at the table and meet with you about how to allocate their assets, how to invest their assets into life insurances, and how to, really be able to take care of themselves. But I will guarantee you, I'll bet you $100, their grandchildren, which, millennials and younger, we don't want to sit down at the table with a traditional asset manager. I told my mom that the other day. She's used her financial advisor for the last 35 years. 30 years. He's done great. He's, absolutely amazing. But I asked her, I said, what information are they sharing with you about cryptocurrency? She's like, they're not. And I was like, exactly, because they're not diverse in it, because they can't be, because it's not regulated at the moment. So they can't really be in it and giving you a financial advice on it, which means they are behind the times. I'm going to tell you right now, this Generation Z, Generation Y, the honey badger generation that's out now, they don't want to sit down and talk to the traditional asset managers and the financial managers, because they're not up on the game and they don't understand the new game. And I will tell you that is a huge market right now. If you are in the financial field, is you need to understand how to connect and how these digital assets work in order to be able to appeal to the younger generation. Because I'll tell you right now, in the next 10 years, with the assets that we have invested and how we're going to manage it, I already know how we have to manage it. I already know who I need to be talking to. I've already done my research of who is informed in this field, as you know, and I mean this in sense of financial advisors that know how digital currency asset works, not the traditional assets. I've already done my due diligence about the lawyer, the accountants, all of those that I need to have on my team or our team in order to make sure that our assets are being allocated properly so that we're not getting dinged 40% every time a trade or something happens or money is moved out of a market. There is a whole system and strategy behind it, guys, to understand how to be able to mitigate your taxes legally, not illegally, and to be able to be in the know-how to understand how to do so that way you're allocating these assets to where you're not going to be at risk for lawsuits, taxes. You know, you will pay your minimum taxes on it, but you're not going to be gouged like anybody else would be that didn't know these things. And again, traditional finance advisors do not know this information, and that is why younger generations are like, I don't want to mess with them, and that's okay. But if you know that, then get in front of that and educate yourself. And so really, guys, that is absolutely, you know, we have beaten this topic to death, but there are some more beautiful people up on the stage here. And so I want to go ahead and open up the mic to see if Miss Cleo, Miss Giggles, or Miss Kathy are here. And if you guys have any questions about it or any feedback about anything we talked about today, any of you ladies want to jump in? They're all going to wait to see if somebody else. There you go, Miss Kathy. Come on.
I just want to say hello to everybody, and I'm just coming in, so I don't know much about what you talked about, but I guess there'll be other times where I can learn. So I just want to say hello.
Yeah,
I love it. Thank you, Miss Kathy, and thanks
you
for
know, with you being a Pivot member, a VIP, you know, you get access to all the stuff. So
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
We got you, Miss Cleo. I saw you come off a mic. Come on, girlfriend. What you got?
Hey, good evening, everyone. So excited to be here and be in y'all's presence. I'm a little bit upset because I missed the beginning, but that's okay. Definitely have been I bought my first actually second XRP. So working on just purchasing that, and I have to get the wallet to put it on there. So that was something new. And like you said, not being afraid, right? Reading and finding out about it. It's a lot of information out there. It is kind of difficult to know which one to listen to, but it is a lot out there. And you just have to, for me, my motivation is the financial security for myself and my kids. So that was what prompted me to make that decision. But yeah, I wish I heard more, but that's okay. I can listen to it later. So thank you guys for letting me share.
You bet, Miss Cleo. It's on. Go ahead, love. I was going to say, you can absolutely watch it. We're going to have this recording up in our metaverse, so that way you guys can come into our metaverse. It's going to be on our YouTube channel as well, so you guys can jump over there and watch all of that. Mr. Jones, what you got to add to that?
And then also, we're going to put this one in our Pivot membership also, And speaking of our Pivot membership, Miss Cleo, with you being, one of our executives at the $27 a month one, when we had this conversation, starting out about crypto, how much easier was it for you to just get on the phone and say, hey, help a brother or sister out, and this is what I want to do?
It was pretty easy to get on the phone because I had been in you guys' room. So I got on the phone and I said, hey, I have some questions, and you guys were awesome. In fact, that led to the video we have that tells you how to purchase it, right? And that was really helpful. I watched that video a couple of times, paused it, took some notes so I could go back and go through the process, and that was fairly easy once I had got it down pat and stuff. So yeah, it's just if you're a Pivot member, I definitely, and you're interested in cryptocurrency, I definitely recommend taking advantage of the videos that we have, so that you can get that knowledge. And like I said, I watched it. The second time I had to go back and watch it again, just to make sure I was doing things correctly, because you have to make sure you're picking the right thing. As Tara said, buy it and then it'll go somewhere and you won't be able to find it. And I didn't want that to happen. So yeah, it was easy. It was very easy, guys. It's worth.
Yeah, Miss Cleo's talking about when you transfer your stuff from the exchange, aka the blackjack table, over to your wallet. You want to make sure your addresses are matching up, so you're not just sending it anywhere. Because if you do, there's very little recourse.
That's like somebody sending you $10,000 on PayPal, and you accidentally sent it to the wrong address, and be like, you call them back, hey, player, can I get my money back? They're gonna be like, huh?
That's like that kid. That's like that kid that found $135,000 at the ATM.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Funny story. So when I was an executive at CBON, they accidentally sent me $42,500.
Hey.
And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Look, I was in Minnesota. They had moved me from Houston to LA to Minnesota. And at one point I was like, you know what? I think I might just quit. And what money? I don't know what you're talking about.
They're going to track that plan.
I don't know what you're talking about. But I returned the money back and was so sad to send all that money back, right? Because they were supposed to send me a $10,000 check. Somebody messed up and put a 4 in front of it. And so this is a prime example of making sure that you know it all. And this is what stops people from making this movement, because it's the unknown. And this is where we share with people. Remember when you didn't know about Zoom and now everybody knows about Zoom? Yep. How beneficial would it have been for you to know about Zoom 6 months, a year earlier than you actually knew about it? But a lot of people didn't know about Zoom until the pandemic. Churches, a lot of businesses and organizations had no clue what Zoom was about until the pandemic hit home. And then it's like, oh, we got to do this. And then everybody's forced. And then you have this huge training, this huge debauculation of people
bringing everybody up to speed.
Yeah, bringing everybody up to speed when this is something that could have been learned in a simple, easier, process if people would have just taken the time to learn those things. And so that's why we encourage you guys. You know what? You can go to YouTube, you can knock yourself out and go through 100 videos, or, you can join the Pivot membership, just like Miss Cleo said. And Miss Cleo, Miss Cleo is one of our Pivot members. She also has one of our Biz in the Boxes. She also has her Hello Plaza storefront, where she now can showcase her storefront in the mall, in our metaverse, where everybody can go and join. And then also Miss Kathy has her storefront as well as her Biz in a Box, also one of our VIP Pivot members. And so this is where literally, guys, we're able to help you make that transition, show you, teach you, or do it for you. It's just up to you if you're going to press the button, because times are changing. Are you changing is the question.
Now, I have a present for everybody who has listened this long and who is here right now. At the end of the day, get into our Pivot membership. But as Miss Cleo was sharing, that she purchased her first 2, she's made 2 transactions, and she has purchased a token or coin called XRP. That is a part of the ISO 222 family that I've been talking about so heavily. I will just tell you guys, this is not financial advice, but I will just put a little bug in everybody's ear that I would, if you're looking for a long-term investment that in the next 10 years will do very well, XRP is one of those.
You just got $1 million advice, just FYI.
In 10 years, when you have bought, your little share and you're multimillionaires, all I want you to go is say, you know what? I pushed the button. Thank
Hello,
you.
LLC.
Hello,
Help the brother
LLC.
out.
That's all. We don't need none of it. We just want you guys to know that, we've done a lot of work, a lot of research behind the scenes. Again, that's why I am a huge fan of the utility tokens. Store of value is awesome. I have I do not, beat up any of the store of value, which would be Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin. Some of those, don't beat those up at all. I just have done my research and I know what I know, and I know where I'm comfortable at within my research and understanding what is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck in the long run, right? And so again, there are multiple ways to bake a cake. As the old generation used to say, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, but I got a kitty cat and I don't want to skin her. So at the end of the day, we don't utilize that analogy anyways, but there's multiple ways to get to the destination you're going. And we want to make sure we mitigate any landmines for you guys. So it's a smooth transaction. It's, again, life's never always smooth, but you just don't want to be out here listening to people that are really, going at it for their own nefarious reasons, right?
And anybody that joins our pivot at the $7 a month one, we will give you one actual one-on-one 30-minute consultation with us if you join our pivot today. Okay. Those of you that are on LinkedIn, we put the actual link in the actual chat itself. So we appreciate if you go and hit the like button. Number one, you know the drill. Hit that little 3 buttons up at the top. Go to view details, like it, press the button. And then if you want to learn more about the pivot, it is right up at the top with the link that I put up there that you guys can join. And then it is also on the actual live feed as well for those of you that want to learn more about the pivot membership from our spaces, from our Twitch, from our YouTube, from our Facebook, from Clubhouse to LinkedIn to our TikTok that we were on earlier, guys. We are everywhere if you go look up the Hello LLC.
Absolutely. And so again, guys, we appreciate you here today. Giggles, are you there? Did you want to tap in before we wrap up this amazing room?
I am here. I've been in and out listening in and working at the same time, and I don't have a heck of a lot to add to this topic, but I'm learning. Hey, Cleo, I'm learning. But I have to say, I was triggered a few minutes ago when you were talking about sending money to the wrong person, because last month I sent my rent for my business space and my apartment. I have the whole building to myself, to the wrong Jacob. My landlord's name is Jacob. And I also, a few months ago, made an e-transfer payment to someone on Facebook Marketplace named Jacob. And unfortunately, I am out $4,600.
They didn't send it back? They didn't send it back, or did you get a hold of them?
I tried. I found his address. I found his phone number, and he has just completely blocked me everywhere, and the bank cannot help.
Wow.
So,
well, I will tell you, we are in the year of karma, Giggles. So I just hold the space that he will get the karma he got, and you will receive.
That's how I feel too. That's what I got to roll. It's painful. It's a hard lesson, but it just anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Giggles. I'm so sorry to hear that, and I don't wish that upon anybody. And that is just, one of the aspects of sharing. I'm sorry that I triggered you with, sharing. But
I was wondering why she put that flag up. I was like, what did we say?
But it is very important to understand, that the value of making sure you double, triple check anything in life, right? And sometimes we just get so busy, guys. I've been known to do it too. And it's like, oh gosh. So sending you lots of love, Giggles. Miss Cleo, I saw you put your hand back up. Were you adding something? You want to add something, love?
No, saying hi to Giggles. I was waving at her.
Okay. I wasn't sure that.
Kathy.
And JoJo, the social media manager master.
JoJo. Hi, JoJo. Say hi.
JoJo, you TikToking today?
Hi, Mom.
You TikToking today, JoJo?
Today? Did you do TikTok today? She said, mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, JoJo is Cleo's daughter, and she is of toddler age, and she is the best social media manager there is. But she might be showing your kneecaps. You know, she might show the back of her head, your head. You know, you don't know what you're going to get when JoJo posts.
Come out the shower.
But Be Hello LLC doubles as a social media babysitter as well. So we are on social media so much that if we see a bogus post, we might
That's
ping
not
you.
set yourself free.
We might ping you and say, does someone have your phone? As like JoJo has. So lots of love to JoJo. She is too cute, y'all. And the fact that she's tuning in at this age, she's going to be a whiz. I'm telling you, she's going to be teaching her mama how to buy cryptocurrency here pretty soon. So okay, already.
So you know, JoJo is the Hello LLC mascot, right?
I do. Like she literally look. She is the press the button mascot. She is. We have dubbed her the press the button. Miss Press the Button. She presses it. She doesn't have no cares if she pushes the button and gets her mom's kneecaps into the picture. Nope, not worried about it. So with that said, guys, we have exhausted this topic. We love you guys. We appreciate you being here. Again, just do the research. Get interested. You don't have the nuclear codes. If you lose $5, it's okay. Make sure it's $5 that you can afford to lose, right? We don't want to be playing with the money that we need, but it's just make smart moves. It is why having these rooms and what we share here is for you guys to sidestep any of the pitfalls and just to understand the value of how it's going to benefit us. Not only personally, it will set you up for generational wealth. Very minimal amount can set you up for generational wealth. And so it is, I mean, you guys could invest in projects right now that are, you could put $50, $100 in, and you would be amazed in 10 years or so, or maybe even 15 years, the generational wealth that will be at your fingertips, all for a small investment. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that to hype nobody. I don't say that to blow any smoke up anybody's skirt, because, it is important to me to tell the truth and be truthful, because again, like I just said it a little bit ago, we are in the middle of 2024, which is the year of karma. And I don't want no bad karma back. So I'm, doing my due diligence to educate and share and be truthful and honest and be helpful in the best way that we can be. So that way you guys, set yourself up for the freedom that you all deserve. So with that said, Mr. Jones, any last comments you want to add to this amazing topic today?
No, you guys come and join us tomorrow for our Hello Pivot live broadcast. You get to see our faces. We'll still be in Metaverse as always. We're going to have the amazing Paul Kellogg, Dr. Paul Kellogg. He is an actual professor and an expert in intuition. So we're going to have a great conversation on that tomorrow. So come and join us at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, PM, of course. And definitely come and enjoy the conversation. But other than that, guys, we're glad you had some time to put to the side to learn about these new things and to be able to understand them at the basic level, which is something that we understand that you guys need to just learn the basics so you can get the rest of the information. But more importantly, pressing the buttons and showing up in your everyday life and not just being focused on one thing. And this is something that we share with people all the time. When we wake up in the morning, think about this. We, get out of bed, the same side of the bed. You do your stretches or you do whatever. You brush your teeth with the same hand. You do the same routines every single day. And a lot of the times what happens is that we get comfortable, and comfortability does not get you success. I encourage you all right now, if whatever hand you brush your teeth with, if you're right-handed, put your hand up right now, your left hand, and act like you're brushing your teeth. That feels awkward as hell. And if you put your hand up, I got your ass, okay? But you understand the concept of being able to do something different, right? Do whatever you're doing, do something different, because old keys don't get you new results, and it dang sure won't open new doors. So make sure you guys are showing up in life. Come and visit with us every single week for our How To Tuesdays, for our Wisdom Wednesdays, and then for our Hello Pivot Live. And if any of you guys want to be on our Hello Pivot Live, we are looking for other guests. Hit us up in the back channel. We'll definitely have you on so you can showcase your business. You can tell people about what you're doing. We can be able to collaborate. And as the whole old saying says, you bring your friends, I'm going to bring my friends, and we
can
become
be
friends.
friends.
And that's what this is all about. So definitely collaborate with us, because collaboration is a new currency, and it depends on what energy you have towards collaboration, because that in itself is the key to be consistent and to be committed to collaborating with others, and not just be about you and what you can gain and not what everybody else can gain together in that community. And please believe there's collaboration and there's domination, and sometimes people go on the domination side other than the true collaboration of everybody wins, and there's enough abundance for us all to win, because there's 7.5 billion people on planet Earth, and really all we all need is just 1,000 people to join our community to where we all can collaborate and prosper together.
Yeah, and I just want to give everybody props that have everybody who have commented and left us wonderful remarks in the chat channel. And I love, Critical Thinker. He was in here earlier sharing a lot of information in the back channel, and I was just reading through that, guys. He's spot on. Those are all things that we are talking, and so I just appreciate him sharing that information in the back channel as well, because it's all us as a community. As we come together, we share the importance of all of this with everybody, and then that the community information and the community lessons and the community experiences that come together just allow us, when the tide rises, for all boats to rise. So I know he's not here now, but I greatly appreciate the love that he shared in the background and the information that he shared, as well as the love that everybody else shared. So with that said, we will end this on a whole lot of love,
kindness,
and integrity,
but most importantly,
commitment
and consistency.
We just adding on.
Yeah, we just adding on, right?
But until next time, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Please tune in, and we will be back next week talking about lots more topics. If there's topics you guys want us to cover, drop them, send smoke signals. And outside of that, love y'all. Toodles!
Toodles!